Safe community call. This is community call number 7. And this is our opportunity to share updates from around the Safe ecosystem, including SafeDAO and Safe governance. So today we have a pretty exciting couple announcements to make. The first one being the launch of Safe Core, and also the March for Account Abstraction Hackathon that some of you might have seen on social media. Also, if you're at ETH Denver, we might have spoken to a few of you about this, so we'll give you some more details and let you know what we're excited to see people build on top of the new Safe Core stack. And then finally, Theo, who's also on the call, will speak on a few updates from SafeDAO and Safe governance. And yeah, as always, if you have any questions, concerns, ideas, join us in Discord and let us know how you're liking these calls or any other ideas for improving them in the future. So to start, we're very excited to announce Safe Core. And Safe Core, I guess for those who haven't seen it, we have launched it. We launched last week alongside ETH Denver, and this is our account abstraction account abstraction stack for builders, anybody that's looking to build new products, ideas on top of the account abstraction narrative. Obviously, self-custody is a huge narrative, and we really believe that the next frontier for Web3, for accessibility, for usability, is going to be unlocked by account abstraction. As one of the first builders in the account abstraction space, we believe that Safe is one of the first implementations of account abstraction. We're really excited to finally launch this full stack and battle-tested infrastructure for people to build on starting last week, actually. So we've been live for about a week. So generally, our idea with this, our thesis is to make this, as always with Safe, our approach is entirely open source. This account abstraction stack is completely modular. And at launch, we were really excited to be joined by a few key builders, including Stripe, to help with the on-ramping kit. So I'll talk about the kits in a second, but Stripe enabling on-ramping, Web3 auth on the authentication side, and Gelato on the relayer kit kind of complete the picture of what's needed to build on top of this fully modular account abstraction kit from the beginning. So as I mentioned, at launch, we have a few different kits that are live and readily available right now. We've launched with a few key partners, and ultimately we are building towards a future where we really envision multiple different kits that work in conjunction with each other, that connect really easily and seamlessly. If there are any protocol layers or products or other teams that would like to speak with us about either building on one of these existing kits or one of the ones that are coming up in the future, definitely let us know. But generally, this whole picture, as it starts to come together with authentication, on-ramping, recovery, relaying, this is where all of the benefits to end users start to really make sense. There's, I think, a lot of misconceptions around what account abstraction is and isn't, but ultimately, as Web3 builders, for us, it's important to keep in mind, what do users actually want to do? What do they want to do in both the real world and the digital world? And the tools are a means to that end. So for us, we really view this as one of the core features or one of the core building blocks to build those real next level user experiences to bring on the next millions and if not billions of users into Web3. So as I mentioned, we were really excited to be joined by a few key partners, namely Stripe, Gelato, and Web3 Auth. These are currently available in the Safe Core SDK. So the kits that I mentioned, these are live. If you go to core, I'll go back. If you go to core.safe.global, these are all available, documented, and ready to be built on top of. So yeah, this bridge between Web 2 and Web 3 is real. And if you have ideas on what you'd like to see built, that leads me to my next point, which is we also announced the March for Account Abstraction Hackathon. We launched with 50,000 in bounties from our core launch partners and a few others. So friends including Gnosis Chain, CowSwap, Superfluid, Base, and again, the whole purpose of this is to make these account abstraction narratives and use cases actually beneficial to end users. And we've put a few ideas on the website on the hacks page, which can be found both through this QR code on the right and the Dora hacks page at the bottom, in terms of what we'd like to see built. But generally now with these kits available with the SafeCore launch, we think that things like building on top of the functionality, such as better means of authentication, on-ramping with using a credit card and not having to have a user deploy a safe or a smart contract with an existing EOA that's already pre-funded with ETH or some other token for gas. Now you can actually just pay and deploy directly using a credit card and get your user onboarded immediately. That's just one idea, but again, minimizing the friction between users and the end goal is what's finally available, and we're excited to see builders build on top of this. So the account abstraction hackathon, the March for Account Abstraction, goes through the end of March. If you have any questions, all of the documentation can be found on Dora Hacks, which is this URL at the bottom, as well as through the QR code. We are live on Discord, so if you have questions as you're looking through the documentation, if you want to jam on an idea, both just from a design or a technical level, or even if it comes to marketing, go-to-market, or other implications of how to build and how to bring these ideas to the real world, let us know. We're all ears and we're here to help. And also on that note, the final point on the hackathon is this Thursday. We are also going to be doing a live Twitter Spaces with more detail on some of the bounties that we've announced from some of our partners who will be joining us on the call live. So right after this call on Twitter, we'll post the details for that. But again, we're really excited to see what everybody builds. If you have ideas, feel free to drop it in Discord or any other channel, Twitter. We've already seen some people that started building at ETH Denver, but are taking their ideas further and continuing to build after ETH Denver, joining us for this hackathon and implementing the SafeCore modular stack. So really exciting to see. And yeah, it's all things account abstraction for the month of March. So please join us. And on that note, I'll hand it over to Theo for updates from SafeDAO.
Awesome. Thank you, Jorge. So from SafeDAO side, if we go to the next slide, we have the constitution proposal that passed the snapshot vote. So we finally have that piece in place, which provides very early piece of a vision and mission for SafeDAO, alongside somewhat of a scope on a high level. And next up, we're going to implement it, create the snapshot subspace, which this proposal defined. And as the proposal also says, future changes to the constitution will need to be voted on in that space, and they require a 2/3 majority and double the quorum of our regular snapshot space. So that is 20 million safe at this time. And we do expect more amendments to the constitution, since it is quite short. And we already have received some feedback on the forum and elsewhere where there is room for improvement, but this is very much an emergent process. And we have the fact that the constitution is changeable, is amendable. So that is really a living document in the sense of on a high threshold to changes, but still expect this to evolve and emerge over the coming months and years, and let us know what we should change. And also on the constitution part, we actually just had a really good workshop at ETH Denver with MakerDAO, with Q blockchain, and with others, including a really informed audience, and Eric Alston from the University of Colorado, also in touch with the Blockchain Gov group who do research on constitutions. So if you're interested in joining that discussion, please let me know. Next slide, please. So in terms of proposals, there's that little going on phase 1 and 2. but we do have LCP5 still, which is basically an airdrop proposal authored by Daniel. And just recently, I think 1 or 2 days ago, Daniel suggested to have a temperature check snapshot vote, an informal snapshot vote to align on the final list of voting options. So the slide shows the options as they currently are. The temperature check proposal goes into more detail what the final options should be. So please take a look at that. And then I believe the proposal can move to a final state to be voted on snapshot. We'll see how much the proposal and the voters voting on it in the end tend to support to allocate more tokens to those who have already claimed versus distributing tokens to new user groups who are not yet part of our community or maybe not have an airdrop at all at this time. So it's quite unclear, I think. But please join the discussion, review the proposal, which is probably nearing the next phase soon. And yeah, that is it from proposals. There is also still the token utility proposal by L1 Digital, which I have not mentioned on the slide here. It is still up for discussion. But let me say also that we encourage everyone to bring up alternative and other proposals around token utility. I really expect this to be a month, if not year-long process. Token design is a complex matter, and we need a variety of inputs here. And also on behalf, on the side of our team, we are working on some more documentation to help community members write more informed proposals on token utility. At this time, just feel free, if you're interested in the subject, to work on a proposal and connect with like-minded people, and let me know if I can introduce you to other guardians or people interested here. And then last note here on how to stay up with SafeDAO. It's really the usual list, but let me highlight the SafeDAO digests again. I already announced them in the last community call, and we've been publishing them ever since weekly on every Friday. Not last week during Denver. I was a bit delayed there, but I hope you find them useful. Please let me know if you do or if you don't. That is definitely also work in progress. But the SafeDAO digests posted on the forum every week just summarize the activity in the forum. And for proposals, it's best to follow our Safe Governance Twitter and enable notifications. So that is currently our communications channels. Again, please let me know if that works for you. We are still contemplating introducing a governance newsletter, for example. So that is, I think, the most important parts I would mention on SafeDAO recently. Curious to hear questions, if there are any, which you can put in to the Q&A function you should see at the bottom. And yeah, I would just close the SafeDAO part here.
Great. Thanks, Theo. And while we wait for questions, as Theo mentioned, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A section at the bottom of the Zoom interface. One point that I think is important to mention, going back to the topic of what account abstraction is and isn't, some people have asked us on our support of ERC 4337 and other implementations of account abstraction across the ecosystem. And we just wanted to make it clear that our stance is we're working towards supporting ERC 4337, as well as any other implementation that ultimately helps drive adoption and usage in the space. So we really want to build alongside all of you. So if you have any questions on how we might partner or collaborate, we're really open for conversations with anybody, and just wanted to clarify that point around support both for 4337 in the near term, and then going forward, how we envision this account abstraction kit evolving over time. So thought I would mention that.
And maybe one more additional question from my side to clarify the hackathon. as the name suggests, it's lasting through March, right? So in terms of deadlines, I believe people can hack until the end of the month, or what are the sort of deadlines to keep in mind here?
Correct. Yeah. So it's an open hackathon. All of the information is on the Store Hacks page, including the different bounties, documentation, ideas, etc. The only requirement is that your projects are submitted by the end of the month, so by March 31st. After that point, we'll have a judging period of a few days. So we'll most likely announce the winners that first week in April with a small ceremony with some judges that we're excited to announce shortly. And yeah, there aren't any hard requirements. The only ones being you must use either the SafeCore kit or some of the other kits or requirements that are mentioned by some of our partners in the documentation. So as I mentioned, we already have a team that built at ETH Denver, and they're building on top of that idea. They're integrating a few ideas from this hackathon and kind of evolving the project. So that's really cool to see. So yeah, we're open to things that have been previously built, again, as long as there's new integrations or implementations that use some of these core parts of the stack going forward. So yeah, other than that, if you have any questions, definitely let us know in Discord, again, which is all linked here and also on the QR code. Yeah, I have not seen any questions. So Theo, unless you have anything else, any exciting updates or other stories from ETH Denver, I think we might be able to call it early. I think everybody's definitely still recovering from an action-packed week. So yeah, if you have nothing, nothing
Lots of information overload from ETH Denver. I do have one more thing to share from Denver, and we just got a question, but I'm just going to share that story really quickly. Just reporting on another workshop we had with Radical, where they invited us to discuss governance topics alongside Radical, ENS, and Optimism. And that was extremely useful for us to coordinate our work around governance design and research. So that is informing our governance framework that is still coming up. And also just a note on the SafeCore and SafeWallet launch, that is also, of course, relevant to SafeDAO when we talk about its scope of governance. And I know we've been moving quite slowly here with publicly discussing and communicating the roadmap of governance for SafeDAO, but really see the SafeCore launch as an early step here. And we're coordinating currently on how this relates to SafeDAO. So that will be a more formal conversation in the DAO on the forum very soon. In the meantime, I encourage you again to just reach out to me directly on any channel if you're interested or passionate about that. And I'm also looking to you as guardians of whom many are on this call, better loop you in. And this workshop with Radical we had in ETH Denver was actually really interesting format. I would like to replicate with our guardians. So stay tuned for that.
Awesome. Yeah, great points. And yeah, the one question we had come in was whether the project for the hackathon needs to be a new one or if it can be something that's already been built. So it can be something that was already started in some form before the hackathon. The requirements are that the integrations to SafeCore or any of the other integrations from different partners was done during this hack period. So during the month of March. If you have a question about that, definitely let us know in Discord. But roughly, if you're integrating a new part or a new feature into your app that either builds on top of Safe or one of these other sponsors or partners in the hackathon, it should be fair game. But again, let us know if you have any questions or need more clarification. Great. So in that case, we can call it early, give everybody some time back. Again, thank you for joining Safe Community Call number 7. We'll be on Discord or in the forums if you have any other questions, but thanks for your time and talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.